The car moved through the rain-soaked road, the rhythmic thud of raindrops against the windshield filling the silence. The air inside felt colder than the storm outside, not because of the weather, but because of you, sitting with your arms folded tight, your face turned stubbornly toward the window. Away from him, Jungkook stole glances at you every few seconds, his jaw tense, his knuckles gripping the steering wheel. He hated this distance. He hated how you refused to even look at him. Finally, he broke the silence, his voice guilty. Jungkook, I'm sorry, Yin. I left my office on time, but… You let out a sharp sigh. Your chest rose and fell as you turned to him for a brief second, eyes filled with hurt that made his heart sink. Yin, and what about the last time? Or the time before that? Jungkook, whenever we have dinner with my family, you're never on time. Never. Your words echoed in his chest. He swallowed, guilt weighing on him like a stone. He wanted to protest, to explain, but the truth was, you weren't wrong, Jungkook. I know, darling, but Yin, I get it. You don't like my family gatherings, but at least pretend, Jungkook. Pretend for me. Do you know what my mom said to me tonight? That caught his attention. His eyes flickered to you quickly, then back to the road as his stomach twisted. Yin, she said you're still unhappy about what happened with the deal. She said you'll never forgive them for that. The word stabbed at him. He bit his lip hard, shaking his head again and again. His hand twitched on the steering wheel, wanting, aching, to reach for your hand resting tensely on your lap. But he didn't. You looked so closed off, so fragile in your anger. He didn't dare. It wasn't about the deal. Not anymore. That bitterness was gone long ago. It wasn't about that deal. Not anymore. He had buried that disappointment long ago. In fact, he had signed deals far bigger, far more profitable since then. That night should have been forgotten. But still, the shadow of it always came back, because your family never let it go. And now, neither did you. His jaw tightened. Yes, he had been angry back then. How could he not? He had poured everything into that project. Sleepless nights, endless meetings, every ounce of his energy, only for it to be taken from his hands at the very last moment. Not stolen by competitors, not lost by mistake, but handed over to your brother. Your family had begged him. They had stood there, eyes full of desperate pleas, asking him to step aside just this once. Because of your brother's betterment, and against his better judgment, against every instinct in his business-trained mind, he had agreed, because it was you. Because saying no would have put you in the middle of a war he couldn't bear to start. It wasn't like he hated your brother, but in business, Jungkook knew the truth. He had seen the reckless spending, the careless risks, the shortcuts your brother always took. Fraudster. That was the word that rang in his head every time he thought of him. But what proof did he have? None. So he had swallowed it, swallowed his pride, swallowed the bitterness, and let the deal slip away. For you. Now, years later, it wasn't him holding on to it. It was your family using it like a knife to dig at his ribs, making you believe he still resented them, resented you. Yin, do you have any idea how humiliating it was to stand there, to hear that, while you weren't even there to defend me, or us? How does he tell you it wasn't about the deal? What haunted him tonight was the dizziness that had struck like a hammer when he was about to leave the office. The way the room spun, the nausea in his chest. His body had betrayed him, forcing him to sit down, take medicine, and catch his breath before he could even think of driving. But you didn't know. All you saw was another empty chair at your family table. Jungkook, Yin, listen to me. That deal, it doesn't matter anymore. I don't care about it. It's in the past. I've moved on, I promise you. But you weren't listening. You stared stubbornly out the window, your reflection showing the gloss of tears you refused to let fall. Yin, then why? Jungkook, why can't you ever be there on time? Why do I have to be the one standing in front of everyone, embarrassed, making excuses for you? Your voice cracked on the last word, and Jungkook's chest squeezed painfully. He opened his mouth again. Jungkook, it's my fault. I'll apologize to Mom, to everyone, but tonight, when I was leaving the office Yin, yes, let me guess, another urgent meeting, right? Just when you left the office, another sudden meeting popped up. You mocked with your hands, your tone dripping with sarcasm, your eyes rolling as you turned away from him again. He sighed, fighting the urge to defend himself, but his health already wasn't holding up well. His temples throbbed, and the lights on the road felt too bright. Still, he stayed quiet, afraid of making it worse. Jungkook, baby. The way he whispered it, soft, pleading, almost cracked your resolve. but you forced yourself to stay firm. For a moment, you almost gave in, almost turned your head. But you tightened your grip on your bag and swallowed the lump in your throat. Yin, just leave it. Jungkook, please, focus on driving. You didn't look at him, and he didn't push. He tightened his grip on the wheel, his heart aching with every second of your silence, the rain outside only making the distance between you feel heavier. Jungkook peeked inside the bedroom, his fingers nervously fidgeting with the doorknob. He stood there longer than he should have, torn between going inside or turning back. His chest rose and fell unevenly, the fever making every breath heavier. But what weighed even more was the sight of you curled away from him, your back turned towards him. You hadn't looked at him once since you'd stepped into the house. Not when you removed your heels by the door, not when you disappeared into the bedroom without a single word. Now, watching you like this, it was worse than any punishment he could have imagined. He didn't know exactly what had happened at the dinner table. He wasn't there on time to see it, but imagining all the possibilities made his stomach twist painfully. His head throbbed like a hammer was striking inside it. He rubbed his eyes, holding the doorframe to hold himself. His body felt heavy, unstable, almost like it wasn't his to control anymore. Still, he pushed himself forward, carefully stepping inside the room. He tried to be quiet, afraid even the faintest noise would disturb your sleep, or worse, remind you of your anger toward him. Earlier, he had stood in the kitchen, gulping down water in hopes that it would help him, but it hadn't worked. The fever burning through his body made him feel like he was on fire. Still, he hadn't dared to switch off the fan. You would have noticed, and you'd ask questions he wasn't ready to answer. He didn't want to worry you. Not when you already seemed so upset. Slowly, he slipped under the blanket beside you. His tired eyes softened the moment they landed on your back. Strands of your black-brown hair spilled across the pillow, brushing over your neck and shoulder. He stared for a long moment, drinking in the details like he always did when you weren't looking. He wanted to hug you so badly, to pull you against his chest and tell you everything. But he held back. You were angry, and he didn't want to risk you catching his fever. So instead, he leaned closer. His hand trembled slightly as he reached out, gently slipping his fingers into your hair. You didn't move. You didn't push him away. Maybe you were asleep. Maybe you were too tired to react. But to him it felt like mercy. A faint smile tugged at his lips. For the first time that night, his fevered body felt a little lighter. He carefully played with your hair, twirling the strands between his fingers, leaning closer until he could breathe in your familiar scent. It calmed him in ways medicine never could. Jungkook, good night, love. It was the middle of the night when your body shifted unconsciously, reaching for the warmth of your husband, as you always did. You reached for him in your sleep, craving the comfort of his embrace. Your hand slipped beneath his shirt, brushing against his skin, only to jolt you wide awake. Your sleep shattered. His body was burning, not just warm, scorching hot. Your heart jumped, and you bolted upright. Panic clawed at your chest as your hands flew to his face, cupping his cheeks, your thumbs brushing across his damp forehead. Sweat glistened on his skin, his hair sticking in soft strands to his temples. Your fingers trembled as they moved down to his neck, pressing softly, desperately trying to feel any sign of normal warmth. But it was all wrong. Yin, Jungkook, Jungkook. You shook him gently at first, then more urgently. Fear rose like a tidal wave as you realized he wasn't waking. His lashes remained heavy against his cheeks. The panic in your chest escalated. Yin, baby, wake up, please, wake up. Don't scare me like this. Fumbling, you turned on the night lamp, the sudden light cutting through the room. Without thinking twice, you ran into the washroom, grabbed a clean towel and a bowl of cold water, and rushed back, hands shaking violently. Sliding onto the bed, you pulled his head into your lap, holding him carefully, trying not to hurt him. The heat radiating from him made your stomach twist in worry. You dipped the towel in the cold water and pressed it against his burning forehead, your own fingers trembling as you smoothed it down his temples and over his cheeks. Yin, wake up, baby. I'm here, please. When did you get this fever? Why didn't you tell me? Your fingers threaded into his damp hair, gently massaging his scalp. Guilt ripped through you like a knife. You hadn't noticed yesterday. You hadn't been attentive. You hadn't seen him struggling. Yin, I'm sorry, Jungkook. I didn't even notice. I didn't even look at you last night. I was so angry. How could I not see you were suffering? Tears welled in your eyes as you dabbed his forehead and neck again, but the fever wouldn't break. Yin, it's okay. I'll look after you. I'll make it better. Just stay with me. Love. please don't. Don't fight it alone. Your hands were shaking, and your chest tightened with helplessness. You realized you couldn't handle this alone. I have to call the doctor. I can't just watch you suffer like this. I'll fix it. I promise. The drip slowly fed the intravenous fluid into his veins. The doctor had just left, giving instructions for hydration and correcting the electrolyte imbalance that had been wreaking havoc on his body. You couldn't stop the tears from falling, warm streaks rolling down your cheeks as you whispered frantic thanks to the doctor for coming in the middle of the night. You sank down beside the bed, sitting near his legs. Your fingers trembled as you picked up the damp sponge, just as the doctor had instructed. Slowly, you started to sponge his body, starting from the top of his head, moving down along his forehead, neck, and chest. The cold cloth against his fevered skin made him flinch each time. Yin, please wake up, baby. I'm here. I'm not leaving, just wake up for me. Still you kept going, moving the sponge carefully along his arms, his torso, his legs, making sure every inch of him was being cooled, being cared for. Hours passed, or it felt like hours. You hadn't slept. You hadn't even rested your eyes. Every shiver that ran through his body made your chest twist painfully. You hadn't even paused to catch your breath. All you had was him, your husband, burning and weak, and your promise that you would not leave his side until he opened his eyes. The sun had just begun to rise, casting warm golden light across the bedroom. Its rays landed directly on him, stretching over the blanket. Slowly, his eyelids fluttered open. Every muscle in his body screamed, heavy and sore, as if he'd been through the most exhausting climb. His head throbbed relentlessly. His limbs felt like lead. Yet despite all that, there was another weight pressing down on him, soft, warm, and comforting. He looked down and froze. There you were, curled gently on his stomach, your soft hair cascading across his chest, your small frame resting against him like you were seeking safety in him. His lips curved into a small, tired smile. No matter how angry, stubborn, or upset you were, you always ended up here, with him, where you belonged. Jungkook, baby, wake. His voice was soft, almost a whisper, but as he reached to brush a strand of your hair behind your ear, he noticed the drip still attached to his hand and felt a cold towel on his forehead. He frowned in discomfort, but when he felt you shift slightly, nuzzling closer, his heart softened. He paused immediately. He let his fingers drift through your hair, savoring the soft pressure of your head against him, careful not to disturb your sleep, but your eyes snapped open immediately. Yin. Jungkook, baby, you're awake. Oh my god. How are you? When did you wake up? How's your fever? Your small hands reached to his forehead instinctively, and he caught them gently with a faint smile. Despite the fever and weakness, seeing you so tender and anxious made his chest tighten. Jungkook, aren't you angry with me anymore? The vulnerability in his voice made your heart twist painfully. Guilt surged through you, mixing with relief, making you choke back tears. Yin, no, I'm sorry, baby. I'm not angry, really. He tried to lift himself from the bed, but you immediately pressed your hand to his chest, stopping him. No, the doctor will come again any moment. Let him check you first. Then you can move, okay? A small laugh escaped his lips despite the heat and exhaustion. Jungkook, hey, I'm fine, really. When did the doctor even come? Yin, he came in the night. Your words faltered, stuck somewhere in your throat, replaced by hot tears that streamed down without permission. Your chest rose and fell quickly, the sobs shaking your body. You suddenly pressed your face against his chest, listening to his heartbeat. Jungkook, how could you not tell me you were sick? I was so scared. Jungkook, hey, no, Yin, don't cry. Yin, look at you. So weak. He exhaled softly, wrapping his arms tighter around you. Then slowly, carefully, he shifted your body so that you were completely on top of him, face buried in his neck. Every inch of space between you disappeared. Your legs instinctively wrapped around him, seeking every ounce of closeness you could get. Yin, you know how scared I was. You know how much I regretted not noticing you sooner. You wouldn't wake up, Jungkook, and I got so scared. No matter how angry I was, I should have known better. I'm your wife, baby. How could you not tell me you were sick? His head nuzzled against yours, arms tightening almost painfully around your body, as if he could keep you safe just by holding you close. Jungkook, I'm so sorry, but you know how scared I am of your anger. His words trailed off. The sound of your crying made his chest ache, twisting with guilt and helplessness. He ran a hand slowly down your back, patting and holding, letting you release everything. He knew once you cried, there was no stopping, and he let you, holding you as if you could shatter without him. Yin, I'm sorry. I should have listened to you. All I did was push you away. I'll never do this again. Jungkook, no baby. Don't apologize. I should have told you. It's my fault too. Yes, I was sick, but I didn't expect it to get this bad. I just didn't want to worry you. You couldn't stop crying. Your body shook, and no gentle words could fully erase the fear and regret pooling in your chest. Yin, I love you so much. Jungkook, I never, ever want to lose you, baby. Never. He froze. Those words hit him deeper than anything else. A single tear slipped down his cheek as he whispered, Jungkook, baby, look at me please. I hate seeing my love cry. Slowly, trembling, you lifted your head, your gaze locking into his dark, tender eyes. You could see the worry, the love, the guilt, everything he felt for you. Stop crying now. Look, I'm fine, thanks to you. My wife, I couldn't have stayed sick even a day. You made sure of that. A soft, almost shy smile tugged at your lips. Despite your sobs, you felt a weight lift, just slightly, as his words sank in. Before you could speak, he leaned down, pressing his lips gently against yours. The kiss was slow, full of softness. It was not hurried or needy. It was full of love and care. Your hands clutched at his shirt, holding on for dear life. His arms tightened, pulling you closer, molding your body into his. Your tears softened instantly on his next words. Jungkook, shh, it's okay now. My love, I'm here. You're here. Nothing else matters. You buried your face into his chest again, nodding silently. His hand cupped your head, fingers threading through your hair as he held you still. I love you so much, sweetheart. I'll never leave you, even in my dreams. Steam filled the bathroom, fogging the mirror and wrapping the two of you in a hazy warmth. Jungkook sat quietly on the bathtub, shoulders drooping, wet hair falling into his eyes. He looked so boyish, so fragile compared to his usual strong presence, and your heart squeezed at the sight. You wrung the foam from your hands, clicking your tongue softly. Yin, stop it, Jungkook. This is going to take forever for you to bathe if you keep playing like this. He only chuckled, that soft, mischievous laugh of his filling the small space. With a finger still covered in bubbles, he leaned forward and wiped the foam from the tip of your nose. Before you could scold him, he leaned close and blew on your nose, making you scrunch and gasp. Yin, yeah, don't. He giggled harder. It was already past noon. He hadn't eaten a single bite since last night. You had refused to let him bathe in the morning, afraid he was still too weak. But when his fever broke so quickly after the doctor's visit, you finally gave in. You gently massaged the shampoo into his scalp, fingers kneading his damp black hair with steady care. He sighed, his eyes fluttering closed, his head tilting into your hands like a puppy seeking comfort. The feel of him relaxing under your touch melted you completely. Then, with his eyes still closed, he whispered almost shyly, Jungkook, can I have a kiss on my forehead? Your chest softened instantly. Yin, why not, my love? Leaning in, you pressed a tender kiss to his forehead, then another, and another. You couldn't stop. His fever had been so high last night that now every kiss felt like a reassurance to yourself that he was here, safe beneath your lips. He cracked a sleepy smile, tilting his head upward and tapping the bridge of his nose. Jungkook, here too, kiss me here. You giggled but obeyed, brushing a kiss along the bridge of his nose, then the very tip, playful and light. His skin was damp, his lashes wet from the steam, and your lips lingered a little longer than you intended. Then he pointed lower, tapping his cheek. Jungkook, and here, don't miss any spot. Your laughter spilled freely this time, but you cupped his cheeks anyway, thumbs stroking his skin as you covered his face with kisses, his cheeks, his eyelids, his jawline, even the corner of his lips. You went over the same places again and again until he started giggling, shoulders shaking, like a boy being tickled. Jungkook, baby please, here too. His finger drifted lower this time, brushing along the line of his throat. His eyes sparkled, teasing. You narrowed your gaze at him. Yin, you're just stalling. Jungkook, making this bath last forever. But your lips were already moving closer. You pressed soft kisses to his throat, one after another. But something shifted in you. You couldn't stop. The kisses deepened, your mouth parting against his warm skin, leaving slow, open-mouth presses that made his breath hitch. Then, before he could react, gently at the tender spot on his neck, Jungkook, oh, Yin, baby. His voice cracked, husky and vulnerable. His hand flew up, gripping your arm tightly, his head tilted back, exposing more of his throat to you. You didn't pause, you moved to another spot. His lips parted, eyes clenching shut as you trailed your lips and nipping just enough to make him shiver. The wet sounds of your kisses echoed softly when you fluttered against his skin. A sharp escaped him. His body trembled under your touch. Jungkook, God, that tickles. No, it feels too good. With one final lingering, you leaned back slightly. His neck was flushed, marked with your affection, his cheeks pink, his lips parted in a lazy, breathless smile. Yin, happy now? He nodded instantly, too eager, his boyish grin returning. You couldn't help but laugh, brushing your fingers through his wet hair. Yin, now can we finish this bath quickly? I need to make you something to eat and then you'll take your medicines. No excuses. He nodded again, but his gaze didn't leave you for a second. His eyes followed every movement of your lips as you spoke, every shift of your smile, every drop of water that rolled down your cheek. Then softly, as though confessing a secret he couldn't hold in anymore, Jungkook, I love you, Yin. The sincerity in his voice made you still, your breath catching. Slowly, you leaned in, brushing your lips against his temple. Yin, I know, darling, I love you more. Jungkook realized, being loved by you felt better than any medicine, any healing he could ever have. The kitchen was warm, filled with the soft aroma of soup and pancakes. The stovetop still hissed faintly, but your attention was entirely on Jungkook. He had you pinned between his thighs, seated on the counter beside the stove, his lips molding hungrily against yours. His hands gripped your waist as if letting you go for even a second would be unbearable. You kissed him back, your fingers clutching the spatula in one hand, the other sliding up his neck to pull him deeper into you. His warmth, his needy hold, made your stomach flutter, but the smell of soup snapped you back. With a soft laugh against his lips, you pulled away just enough to whisper, breathless, Yin, baby, wait, let me stir. We can't overcook the soup. He groaned softly, resting his forehead against yours, his lips brushing against your cheek. Yin, just a second. His lips found yours again, gentle but desperate, as if he was starved for you. You smiled into the kiss, then gently pressed your hand against his chest, leaning in closer to his ear. Yin, I'm right here, my love. I'm not going anywhere. Let me cook. After eating, we can do whatever you want. We can cuddle, watch a movie, or we can. You stopped there, leaving the rest for him to imagine. Jungkook blinked, his ears reddening instantly. His voice came out shaky. Jungkook, really? But I am sick. You couldn't help but chuckle. His shy stammering was too adorable. Leaning in, you gave him a soft peck on his lips and whispered while brushing a strand of hair from his forehead. Yin, well, we're already kissing so deep I should have been sick by now if it was that serious. Don't you think? His lips curved into a bashful smile, his grip finally loosening as he let you turn back to the stove. You stirred the soup quickly, then plated the meal with quiet concentration. While he sat on the counter, he watched you like you were the most precious thing in the world, his gaze lingering on your movements, your soft smile, your delicate hands. When you finally set the soup and pancakes on the counter, he looked at you with a mischievous glint. Jungkook, will you feed me? You raised an eyebrow, shaking your head playfully. Yin, no. His eyes went wide, panic flashing across his face. Jungkook, no? Hey no, come on, you have to. I'm still sick. Look. He coughed dramatically into his hand, faking weakness in the most obvious way possible. You bit back a smile, smirking instead. Yin, then I guess our little fun plans are cancelled. No cuddles, no kisses, and definitely no more activities. You're too weak. The way his jaw dropped made you burst out laughing. He slid off the counter in a hurry, stumbling toward you with wide eyes. Jungkook, no, I'm not that sick. I mean, I am sick, but not like that. I can still. His words tangled together until he gave up, burying his face against your chest. You laughed even harder, wrapping your arm around his shoulders. Yin, oh, my baby, who else will feed you if not me? He scratched the back of his neck, embarrassed. The warmth spread across his chest as he realized, at least you were smiling, at least you were here with him. Jungkook, come on, he muttered, grabbing the plates to hide his flustered face. let's eat." You followed him toward the couch by the TV, still laughing, watching him try and fail to mask the smile tugging at his lips. Every glance he gave you was full of adoration, and every brush of his hand against yours sent tiny sparks up your arms. The warmth between you was impossible to ignore, but somehow, even in his weakened state, he seemed completely alive when he was with you.